Howdy friends, Russell here, coming to you from the shop. Today on wonderful Jeep repair and blah 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 blah. we're working on the 4.6 stroker. We've got the 4-liter block, core block that we're going to use. In the previous few videos, which I'll put links up here consecutive, we talked about what we're planning to do. We started the disassembly and we removed the cylinder head. The cylinder head is off at the machine shop. The crank that we're going to use is off at the machine shop. So today what we're going to do is finish disassembling the short block assembly. In this video, we're going to finish tearing it all the way down. All the way down. We're going to take off the oil filter housing adapter, distributors coming off, timing chain sets coming out. We'll flip it over, oil pan off, crank, pistons, everything's coming out. By the time we're done with this video today, we're going to have a bare block that I can take to the machine shop. So without further ado, I'm going to get started. As I said before, I left the distributor cap on, even though it's cracked and broken, because it helps protect the internals, which is actually, while this is a distributor, it's also a cam angle sensor for the electronic ignition. So I left the cap on to protect the internals. We're going to take this off as a unit. Wow. Shouldn't be that stiff to turn. So the varnishing of the never changing the oil worked its way all the way up into the distributor. So this distributor assembly is actually probably toast, but we'll keep it because the cam pickup in here is an original pickup and they work way better than the Chinese aftermarkets. All right, distributors out of the way. So the next thing we're going to do is pull off the oil pressure sending unit. That's all I need to see. All right, next thing to come off is going to be the oil filter itself. And let's see how big of a mess we're going to make. Yeah, we got oil. And we got pads for that. Alright, so oil filter housing adapter. It takes I thought. Takes a T60 to remove it. And while I do love using the adapter on a CJ because it allows me to run a bigger oil filter, I don't particularly like it on the XJ, but it's a necessity. And unfortunately, this is a leak point. There's a seal in here and an O-ring seal in here. And over time, they'll start to leak. And the problem is, when they start to leak on an XJ, the only way to get this out is to have the motor out. And there's the petrified O-ring. That's supposed to be supple rubber. I'm surprised it wasn't leaking. All right, so now we get to spin the motor over and start working on the bottom side. Probably going to get a little bit of oil drippage out of this. And some coolant. And we'll finish spinning it all the way over. When they pulled this out of the junkyard, all they did was snip the hydraulic lines. So that'll be the first thing we remove just to get them out of the way. And you'll deal with that when you're doing, a lot of times doing these junkyard motors. They'll just cut lines. Those should be 11mm, no? Yep. Alright, hydraulic lines are out of the way, we'll get rid of these. Okay, now that's out of the way. That's just a matter of removing the bolts all the way around. And most of these are 11 millimeter, a couple of them are 13s. Once again, the weirdness of Chrysler at the time. All right, all the bolts are out of the oil pan, so we'll just lift it off. Actually, let me save that. Because you never know when you need a good Jeep oil drain plug. All right. Now, normally, I'd pull this off gently, try to take care of it. I've already ordered a replacement, and I'm going to show you why. I see this a lot. Motors coming out of junkyards. That right there. When they pulled this motor and set it down, it crimped the oil pan. So this oil pan's no good. It's got to go away. All right, and for my next trick, haha, funny, funny. So we got the oil pan off. Peel this gasket off. So the next thing we're going to do after we get the gasket off is we're going to take out the oil pump and the oil pump strainer. And there's all kinds of garbage in that, so I already have a replacement pump, so none of that will be saved either. And it's just always good practice. If you're rebuilding the engine, especially on these Jeeps, just get a new melling oil pump. Don't bother with the old one. And it's just two 13 millimeters that hold this pump down. To the trash with ye! All right. So let's scrape this gasket off. I can tell you right now, this oil pan's been resealed at some point, because this is not the factory gasket. The factory gasket is not a one-piece gasket. And this is a one-piece gasket. It's very petrified. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, since we've got the motor upside down right now, is we're going to go ahead and pull. We're going to go ahead and pull the crank damper, or the crank pulley, or the vibe damper, or whatever it is you want to call it. It is not on an inline-6 motor, this is not a balancer. It's a crank damper. It does no balancing. So we'll go ahead and pull the crank damper. We'll get this girdle off. Remember I told y'all in the previous couple videos that this is an NVH block. And it stands for noise, vibration, and harshness. And they put this girdle on it to stiffen the crank, stiffen the block. Jury's still out on whether I need this girdle or not with a 12 counterweight crank, but we'll probably use it anyway. So we'll get this girdle off. We'll get the crank pulley off. We'll go ahead and pop the pistons out. All right, the crank bolt is a 19 millimeter. It's that easy. Bolts out. But the washer's hung. All right, handy dandy screwdriver. Now, if you're ever doing crank bolt work on a car, here's a little tip for you. If you notice this washer has an angle to it. Come on, focus. It's got an angle to it. All right. This washer is slightly concaved on this side. This goes up against the pulley. This end goes up against the bolt. And you can see the curvature. So now I get to play with a new toy. Pull this pulley off. And what that does is give me something to push on. All right, so what we've got is a puller attachment bolted to the face of the pulley, and then the threaded rod goes through and engages the head of the bolt for the crank, which I put it back in because I don't want to damage the snout of the crank. I'm not going to reuse this crank, but I might be able to sell it. So, and then now I just got to tighten that up. And then we pull the bolt back out. Y'all can see how that works. It bolts into the pulley. All right, so now we got to pull the nuts that hold this girdle on, and they are 14 millimeter. I'm going to break them loose with the big breaker bar, and then I'll come back and buzz them off. That's the girdle. All right, so next we're going to pop these rod caps off, and I'm going to move the camera around so you're looking right on top, at least as best as I can. So we'll start with number 3. We'll put 3 and 4, and then we'll turn the tank. Wow. Oh yeah. Well, we didn't spin the bearing, but a little bit of wear in there. So let's finish pushing this out. A little bit of skirt wear. This motor's lived hard for 180,000 miles. That wrist pin is tight, and it's all from oil coking. It shouldn't be that tight. Same thing, crap ton of bearing wear. All right, it's gonna be 1 and 6. I can't be that lucky, right? All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna pull the lifters out, and then we'll pull this timing cover off and remove the camshaft and the timing set out. And I've already removed one of them because I wanted to make sure these are gonna come out. Folks, it should not be this hard to pull lifters out. Look at all that coking in the end. I won't be reusing those. All right, back to the front. We'll get this timing cover off. Once again, Jeep saw fit to give us a hodgepodge of bolt sizes. Jesus. There she be. Not in bad shape, but I've got a brand new roll master to put on it. And out comes the cam. I mean, there's even coking on the cam lobes. That's just unacceptable, folks. Alright, now that we got the timing cover off, the camshaft's out, the lifters are out, now we can pull these main caps and get the crank out. I didn't care about the rod ends when we pulled them off, about directionality and what went where, because I'm not going to reuse them. And if I do sell them on the used market, whoever buys them is going to have to resize them and match them anyway, so I don't care. The main caps I have to keep track of, because we are reusing them. We're not reline honing the block. It's going to go back in the way it came. So I do have to reuse these main caps. I've got to keep track of specifically what bolt came out of where, what order they came out of, everything. So I got to make room on the bench. lay these out in order. So we're going to start up here with number 1. And let's look at this bearing. Yeah, they're okay. Not that I really care that much. And just so y'all know, the thrust bearing on these is on number 3. Or it is a thrust bearing. These bearings look okay. All right. Journals are out. This crank is usable. Can be polished up. Somebody might need it. Just not me. All right. Crank is out. Alright, rear main seal's out. See if we can't dig these bearings out. All right, that's all there is to it. All there is to it. Quite a lot of work. Block's ready to go to the machine shop. I'll put the main caps back on in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, right, left, bolts in the right position and everything. And we'll send this block to the machine shop as is once I get my pistons in. So that's it for today. Stay tuned. Once I get parts in, we'll start throwing more videos. Head back, crank back, everything. So once again, if you like this content, go ahead and like, hit subscribe, hit that bell icon for future notifications. And as always, there's more to follow.